As the big trade negotiations with China get rolling later this week, I need you to remember something. Please remember this. I don't want you to hold your breath waiting for a deal. Look, I would love a reasonable trade deal with China. Even a bad deal would be great for the stock market, at least in the short term. But you got to understand, it's incredibly unlikely, even if the president seems fairly positive something could happen this very week when he talked this evening. Why? Because the White House has 7 demands that it's not willing to compromise on. They haven't budged on these issues. And China has shown zero willingness to give in. Chinese government would rather take the pain of the tariffs than give President Trump what he wants. And until that dynamic changes, well, you know what? As much as I'd like to be optimistic about a deal, maybe a little give by the Chinese kind of surprises, I don't know. Can't bet on it. I'm not that optimistic. Let me go over these 7 demands. The ones that are often reiterated by Peter Navarro, who's the president's chief trade advisor. First, the president wants China to stop stealing your intellectual property. Some of this has to do with software privacy. I mean, but there's a little more to it than that. After Micron, a stock I talk about all the time, the big commodity semiconductor company rejected a $23 billion bid from the Chinese company. China wooed some of its Micron's engineers and had them build a plant just like Micron's. Is outright theft, and it's all there in the Justice Department's pleadings. I got it in the New York Times. Second, the president wants an end to forced technology transfers. China has a long-standing policy of forcing companies that want to do business there to form joint ventures with local enterprises. And then that joint venture shares their technology with the government. The government spreads it around to everyone. Can you imagine if any other country tried to pull that stuff? I mean, it's routine in China, though. There are very few exceptions unless you make coffee, sneakers, Kentucky Fried Chicken. 3, the Chinese need to stop hacking our computers, both the government and private actors. I've talked to almost every single publicly traded cybersecurity company, and they all tell me that China remains the #1 culprit behind cyber theft. Should that go on? 4, the president wants China to stop targeting our businesses for destruction, like they tried to do with our steel and aluminum industries. I've seen the impact of this firsthand. My father sold gift wrap in Philadelphia. He was a jobber. One by one, the Chinese wiped out the American gift wrap industry that he sold for. I think we still have some of those last big rolls of paper made in the USA down in our basement. They're museum pieces. Papa ended up working for the Chinese competitors who took over, and to be fair, he loved doing business with them. 5th, China needs to stop subsidizing state-owned industries. I totally understand where this demand is coming from. These subsidies are a major way the Chinese target our companies. But I also can't imagine the Communist Party ever letting this happen. It would result in a massive number of Chinese layoffs. For example, they subsidize steel production mostly as a make-work program. That's why Nucor, the company with the best technology on Earth and the lowest cost, still needs tariffs to compete with China on a level playing field. We want to be able to compete. That's all we want, is to compete. 6, the White House wants China to stop it with the currency manipulation. They've been better on this for a long time until the trade war got rolling. Lately, though, they've been devaluing their currency to offset the impact of the tariffs. If you listen to the conference calls of American companies that buy things from China, they keep saying that the weaker yuan is cushioning the blow. Well, that's anti what Trump wants to happen. Finally, the easiest demand. There are lots of ne'er-do-well Chinese companies that illegally sell fentanyl in this country. Their government has repeatedly pledged to crack down on this, even making fentanyl a controlled substance back in May. But it hasn't meant a thing. They're still selling it. That's what needs to happen before we can see a major breakthrough on trade. China wants to placate us by buying some soybeans, but the White House wants real change. So until the basic political calculus changes on one side or the other, maybe it changes on our side, I don't know. I just don't see a market-moving deal happening this week. Stay with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.